You're an aspiring filmmaker, shooting a goofy movie with your buddies. Everything is normal, it's just another day of your life. Suddenly, you trip backwards. You brace yourself for impact with the ground, but it never actually comes. Instead, your body just slips through and keeps falling. You see the world around you, but it looks wrong. Everything directly out of eyesight of anyone is invisible. There are massive voids where space ought to be. Dirt, metal, concrete, it's all gone. It's strangely familiar to when you clip out of the world in a video game only to fall into an infinite abyss, the void. Right now, you are falling into that very abyss. Suddenly, you awaken in an eerie, empty office environment that stretches farther than you can see. Harsh fluorescent lights blaring with a deafening hum line the ceiling. Tacky yellow wallpaper, a smelly, damp, moist carpet that squishes and sloshes with your every step. You walk, you keep walking. Room after room, hallway after hallway. Are the blaring lights getting louder? It's starting to give you a headache. Your pace quickens as you dart from room to room, hallway to hallway. The wet carpet is emanating a sickly sweet odor and it's nauseating. The humming from the lights has gotten so loud now you can't hear your own footsteps. Have you lost your hearing? Finally, you round a corner and see a dark hallway without any of those awful fluorescent lights. As you approach, the buzzing fades and you can hear your sloshy footsteps again. You breathe a sigh of relief. Wait a minute, was that a noise behind you?
Hello?
Huh? I could have sworn I saw. The Backrooms is a collaborative fiction project similar to the SCP project. It's still a relatively young one, and as a result, quality varies a lot from contribution to contribution. It's inconsistent. It isn't just inconsistent in regards to quality though. Similar to the SCP project before it, there is no singular canon. Several wikis exist, different articles describing the same level exist, and the information often contradicts each other. This is fine. It's necessary for a collaborative fiction project. Without a single definitive canon, participants can elect to adopt whatever canon they like. That said, it is inevitable that the biggest, most high-profile contributions will inevitably influence the popular canon adopted by the general public. If you do not subscribe, you will die. I mean, you will also die if you don't subscribe because death is inevitable, but a lot of people were first exposed to the Backrooms through Kane Pixels' recent series, and a lot of them might not even be aware of the other contributions in the universe. Thus, by nature, the more popular entries tend to have more sway over what becomes popular canon. The rules that Kane Pixels set will have substantial impact on a lot of future Backrooms contributions, so I wanted to go through Kane Pixels' series and point out where he adheres to current popular Backrooms canon and where he diverges. The opening of the series is incredibly faithful to commonly accepted canon. The cameraman trips backwards, but instead of colliding with the floor, he no-clips out of reality. We can chalk this up to him just getting really unlucky. It's a proverbial glitch in the Matrix. As is established in most Backrooms lore, no-clipping from baseline reality into the Backrooms leads you at level 0, which is the first and most popular level of the Backrooms. Indeed, this is where our protagonist is when they come to. He starts shouting for help, and shortly after, he hears a sound behind him and swings around. We can see that an entity had been peeking at him from around the corner. It is not clear whether or not the protagonist saw them as well, though it seems unlikely. This is somewhat consistent with popular Backrooms canon. While the wiki.wiki indicates that no entities are known to exist within level 0, the fandom wiki, which is generally viewed as less prestigious by most of the Backrooms community, includes entities on level 0. One of the entities said to be present on level 0 are hounds, which some say are attracted to sound. Thus, our cameraman likely attracted whatever was stalking him by calling out for help. Generally, in level 0, calling for help is pointless. Any beings you encounter are likely not human. This brings us to the first big potential desync between Kane's series and the most popular Backrooms canon. In the most recent entry in Kane's series, we see that 3 people in hazmat suits are able to enter the Backrooms together. This is really interesting because the current wiki.entry entry indicates that level 0 is entirely still and devoid of life. Although it is the primary entrance to the Backrooms, contact with other wanderers within the level has never been reported. Presumably, a great number of people have died before exiting, the most likely causes being dehydration, starvation, psychological trauma due to sensory deprivation and isolation. However, no corpses have been reported from these hypothetical deaths. Attempting to enter level 0 in a group will result in the separation of the group until the level is exited. So at first glance, it appears that in Kane's universe, you can enter the Backrooms in a group. Granted, we see this occur through scientific equipment opening a portal, not a random no-clip like in the first video. So that could make a difference here. Side note, in a lot of the extended backrooms canon, a common trope is this presumption that everybody exploring these backrooms has mastered the art of no-clipping and can perform the action at will. I personally don't like this canon at all, as it makes the backrooms far less dangerous and scary if you can just no-clip to safety all the time. I view this technology as a way to deliberately trigger a no-clip entry into the backrooms, which to me is a much cooler idea. Yeah, you can no-clip wherever, but it requires a bunch of machinery and resources and stuff. If that's the direction Kane is going, I'm stoked about it. As the group delves further into level 0, one of them begins to hear indiscernible voices calling to them from a nearby room. It sounds like it's just around the corner. They ask their comrades if any of them heard it, but none answer affirmatively. The curious explorer ever so slightly deviates from the group and takes a few steps down the hallway to investigate the room with the alleged source of noise. Upon seeing that the room is completely empty, they turn to rejoin their teammate, only to see what looks like them flickering out of existence. So, while you can enter Kane Pixels backrooms with multiple people initially, there's a very real possibility that you end up forcibly separated. Right now it's unclear if this is just something that can happen, or if the unlucky soul in the backrooms informational video somehow broke protocol. He did split off from the group in their line, so... Another thing to point out is how well this aligns with the wiki.dot entry for level 0. While, as mentioned before, the active wiki.dot entry for level 0 specifies that no entities are known to exist within the level, including other humans, it also indicates that if you see, hear, or encounter what you believe to be another wanderer, it is not a human. It also indicates that visual and auditory hallucinations are common in level 0, including human-like speech resembling no known language. This is some more alignment between the wiki.dot page and Kane Pixels' original works. The, again, generally less reputable fandom page has 2 entities on level 0, but they don't really sync up with Kane Pixels' interpretation. One type are faceless beings that are generally mischievous and non-aggressive, with some notable exceptions. They sure are scary though. The other entity are the hounds. These creatures have a different physical description than the monster we see in Kane Pixels videos, but they operate in a somewhat similar way. If they spot you, they chase you, and you gotta run. Pretty straightforward. So it could be that at least some of the ideas from the fandom wiki have in fact made it into Kane Pixels' interpretation, at least in some capacity. We don't know for sure. One interesting note from Kane's missing persons video is that we actually encounter a corpse within level 0. This is a tricky one, as the wiki.dot page indicates that no corpses have been reported from these hypothetical deaths. Not to mention that despite it being the entrance to the backrooms, contact with other wanderers within the level has never been reported. Clearly, Kane's canon is taking these ideas in a different direction, which is cool. There is what I like to call the extended backroom universe, which include hundreds of different levels that contributors have added to the numerous backrooms repositories around the internet. Anyone can submit anything, so these do vary wildly in quality. Some are really cool, and others not so much. One floor has you driving on an infinite straight highway with no need for gas, and you're safe for as long as you don't exit the vehicle. That's kinda cool. However, others are just obviously haunted houses, death traps, and I find them a little implausible. If you want a deeper dive on a lot of the extended Backrooms universe, check out Brugly's channel. They do a great job of covering all that stuff. When it comes to the Backrooms, I feel personally that simpler is better. The premise comes from the idea that the nature of our reality is somewhat similar to a computer. Questions like, what did they intend when they built this, aren't really important to me. It's bizarre and alien because everything seems so trivial, like a series of procedurally generated rooms in a roguelike video game. This gets into what may be the biggest change in Kane Pixels' interpretation of the Backrooms. In First Contact, we see that Async, a corporation, has apparently created the Backrooms, allegedly to resolve storage issues. Some fans immediately cried foul, and I understand why. One concept consistent throughout the Backrooms is that there is no who, no where, no when, and no how. Just a what and maybe a why. Popular canon is that by no-clipping out of what they call baseline reality, your existence ends up somewhere it isn't supposed to be. It's like a piece of data getting flung into a section of arbitrary memory. The foundations of the Backrooms is this idea that reality is likely a simulation, and I always interpreted level 0 as a failsafe mechanism. If somebody accidentally no-clips out of baseline reality and ends up somewhere they aren't supposed to be, they're automatically sent to this bizarre series of rooms, trivially generated by the system. That said, upon further scrutiny, we really don't know enough about Kane's series to say whether or not these Backrooms were really man-made. It's possible that Async figured out how to gain reliable access to the backrooms and decided to start utilizing it for storage. Risks be damned. It's possible they even lied to investors and authorities and told them they did build it. This is supported by the evidence we see in the videos. We see Async employees exploring the backrooms. That doesn't seem like the kind of thing you'd need to do if you, I don't know, created it. It's entirely possible that Async didn't create the backrooms in Kane Pixels' universe. They could have just found it and decided to start exploiting it, likely with disastrous consequences. The truth is that we'll have to wait and see. Kane has been dropping new videos pretty regularly, so make sure you're subbed to their channel and keep your eyes peeled for new entries. If you've enjoyed this video, check out my other video on analog horror if you haven't seen it already. I think you'll enjoy it as well. As always, thanks for watching.